Shoot. What's up, guys? How we doing? Hey, TVs, stuff like that, phones, cool stuff. Get down. Technology. That's good stuff like that. Looks like a pager. Like that. I see Sipple with a pager. You still have a pager? You had one at one time, though, didn't you? There's no doubt that you had a pager like that. That would have been outstanding. I see Sipple with a pager, 100%. Like that. So, hey, a couple things. Obviously, coming off a bye week, it was really good for us to get a chance to get ourselves kind of rejuvenated a little bit. Probably because one of the biggest things was there's a lot of changes between that time. So just to have that time off just because of the head coaching change, the defensive coordinator change, we were hitting running, so that helps a little bit there, helped us get back to healthy. And then also got a lot of good pre-work on Illinois. And so we're able to get work last week. Our kids are outstanding at how well they focus in. So we didn't waste any time when we were on the field. We had a couple days we were on the field and obviously had a great practice again on Sunday. So we didn't waste any reps or any time in that spot. So that's been really good. So the bye week was good for us to get back to healthy, get our kids, like I said, that bounce back, get a chance to focus in on a couple schoolwork things. That was really good for us. And then, transferring over to this week, it's been another great week for us. We have great kids that are locked in. Obviously, our challenge is monumental as far as we're playing a really good football team. I wouldn't say monumental as far as something that can be obtained, but it's just a very good football team that we're playing. So we got a lot of tasks at hand that we have to deal with, and they're doing a great job with it. So just again like that, just an impressive bunch of young men on defense and an impressive bunch of coaches. And I also think the thing that stands out the most with how the defense has been personality-wise and how they have been their coachability to be able to take coaching is just a huge reflection of the head coach and how he has changed the culture since the time he took over, and the positive vibe and the demands that he's making of them every day and everything. And the kids want to have discipline, and he's given it to them with a lot of energy, and it's been well received throughout the entire team. So that part's good. So anyway, got obviously a big game against Illinois. I know those guys pretty well. I know Coach Bielema very well. One of my best friends is their corners coach, so obviously we don't talk during any of this time right now. We don't talk during the season, but know a lot of their guys on staff and familiar with how they want to do how they want to handle their system and their team. So a lot of challenges ahead for us right there, but that's just part of college football. So college football is hard. Everything has to be worked like that, and you don't want to play games that aren't like this. So we're excited to go play. Fire away.
How do you feel about the guys taking reps for Nick the rest of the season, and just a challenge ahead for guys like Clark?
God, that's a kick in the gut losing him. I mean, he's a great player. He's a better person. He's a better leader. Nick Heinrich's he's a game changer for us just to have around. You just want him at that. The room changes when he walks in. And the amazing thing is the room still changes when he walks in. On crutches. That just tells you what a great human that he is. So we miss him very much, and we've had a lot of long talks with him. But obviously, at that we'll rotate it. It'll be by committee a little bit like that with Va able to go right there, and Ernest will be able to play in that spot. Obviously, having Snodgrass back is healthy because he missed a lot of camp, so it's a big plus to have him back ready to go. So it'll be divided up in reps right there. But Coach Rude's done a great job with the plan for us, so we're excited to have him ready to go.
Challenge Chase Brown. Obviously, very few teams have had much success slowing him down. What makes that running attack so good, and him in particular? Well, the first thing that they do is, like I said, they have a very structurally sound plan with everything that they do. The next thing what he does really well, obviously, he has breakout runs and he can make you miss. But his biggest strength that Chase has is that he's able to turn 3-yard runs into 6-yard runs. That's the number one thing that stands out the most to me, is you look at the film and it should be 2nd and 7 and it's 2nd and 4. That's the biggest challenge probably going on with the run fits and then tackling and be able to get him wrapped up. He has so many yards after contact that it's ridiculous. And so I just have great respect for him. Have huge respect for the staff and how they're able to block for him. They've done a great job up front. There are multiple tight ends and so like that. So it's an old school
Big Ten team built from the line of scrimmage, and he's very, very good at obviously carrying the ball, and just pretty remarkable in durability. The number of carries that he has, I think the last game Minnesota was at 41, some of that. So that's a lot of carries in anybody's game right there. So his durability is pretty impressive, and I haven't even seen him even like limp off the field or anything at any time. It seems like he's fresh. So again, it'll be a big boy fight.
How have you guys felt like you've matched the physicality of your opponents up to now, and how much further do you feel like you have to go as a defense in that regard?
Always you're doing one or two things. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And so I've liked how we've been able to get better. We didn't do as good enough job like that, and I'll go coaching first on that against Purdue on the physicality part, because they were a little bit more multiple. And but I like how we're handling things up front. I like how our linebackers are fitting. Obviously, we did a very good job in the first couple of games when I was in charge of the defense, and we had that changeover. Didn't do as well against Purdue, but we have a great plan for them to be able to get done. But we have to be able to match them like that, because it'll be that they're gonna test your will at all times like that. Basically in strength, and they're going to really get you on fits, because they have a lot of gap schemes too, which means when there's gap schemes, that means that the everything changes on the run. And so they run counter extremely well, and they have different things. They run counter, they run power, they're a huge zone team, so they have all the complements off of what's going on in the run game.
Hey Bill, how has Marquise Buford, it looked like he got dinged a little bit maybe in the Purdue game, but how has he come along? And also Phelan played a lot back there at safety.
He did. We lost Buf in the first half, which kind of goes a little unnoticed, but he's starting safety. He's a really good player, and so losing him in the Purdue game was a rough deal. Losing Nick in that, and obviously not having Reimer out there for the entire game was a little bit of a tough situation. But Buford's 100% back. He's able to go. It was more of a contusion injury that he had that, to be honest with you, it happened on, I think, the first play of the game like that, and he still played through like the first half, and they came and told me at halftime he was able to go, and I was like after I knew he was injured like that, just the guts he had to be able to come back, and we didn't know he was injured. He missed a play or two, put himself back in, and then he kind of let us know where he was at. So we're always, obviously we're always safety first at those spots. But he's 100% back and ready to go. And then Phelan's ready to go too. Phelan actually played very well for us. So it was a good deal. Anything else?
A lot has been talked about Chase Brown.
I'll get back to you.
You want
No, you're good.
Yeah, good.
Chase Brown, how great he's been, but Tommy DeVito, veteran quarterback, has had a pretty solid season. How do you balance trying to stop Chase, but also making sure you're not getting gashed against DeVito?
First of all, if you look at his percentage, DeVito's a very good player. I recruited him out of high school, actually. Seemed like that was like 6-7 years ago, and he's still playing. So he's been playing for a long time. Obviously, a veteran player. He's played a lot of snaps. Hasn't played a lot of snaps for Illinois, but he's played a lot of snaps at football, obviously, and very impressive. So what they do off of their run game, just like everyone does in modern day football, is they have a really good job of RPOs. So they can throw the glances, they can throw the bubbles off the look that you give them, and he's very, very efficient. I think he's a 70-point-something percentage thrower. That's really, really good. And so he's able to throw that. He has balls that he knows where he wants to go with them off the look that he gets. And then the run game kind of limits you sometimes what you can do defensive-wise, coverage-wise. So he kind of gets a look that he wants like that. But he's very good at delivering the ball, and he's got big-time receivers. Hightower can take the top off of it. Isaiah Williams is a make-you-miss. He's a fly-sweep guy. He's a go-to guy on third down. So he's got a lot of talent all the way around him. So, but right now, the quarterback like that is, like I said, he's playing at a very, very high level. And I said, DeVito is someone that we have great respect for.
You mentioned coaching error maybe with trying to stop the run against Purdue. What adjustments, though, do you think learning from that can you make or have you made when it comes to Illinois?
Oh, you just match up the best you can. I mean, everything we did, in that game also was what we felt was the best thing to do at the time against Purdue. And there are some things that we didn't execute well enough. There's things I didn't do well enough as a coordinator to be able to get done through that. But there's always some things we go back, we evaluate ourselves all the time. The extra week, the bye week helped us on that to be able to get that done. Having some bodies back helps us. Obviously, we lost Nick, but having Reimer back will help us. Having Buford back, a lot of players in the game to be back for us right there. So that's a plus for us. And so we evaluate ourselves all the time. We watch what we have to be able to get done, how we practice it, and then always just make the main thing the main thing. And so we've done a good job of that in the past right there, which we know what the main thing is against them, and that's where we have to be successful. No one's going to, I love the term, stop the run like that. They're not going to come in here and rush for 4 yards like that. You got to be able to control the run. You got to be able to control it on certain situations. You have to be able to make sure you don't have big plays and breakouts, and then we have our opportunities to be able to make the tackles. We got to be able to keep it to the minimum, besides like what I said earlier, where all of a sudden a 3 or 4 yard fit turns into a 7 yard gain, which we have to defend very hard in this game.
Is Illinois tough to prepare for in terms of complexity, or is it pretty standard?
Their complexity comes from their tight ends, because they put the tight ends everywhere. They build from outside in, which when they line up out of the core, motion them back in, or they line up with 12, which is 2 tight ends with multiple formations. And then sometimes they'll get into 13. Sometimes they'll do T's, which is an extra tackle in the game. So their multiplicity comes from making run gaps and run fits extremely hard. That's one of the things that they do very, very well. And then obviously they still have, trust me, the coordinator is really good. He's been with Coach Bielema before, did a great job at UTSA, and so he also has all the dynamics of the spread game, the throw game. Having you spread out, he just does. He plays to his ability very well.
When you looked back at the Purdue film, what were some of those things that you feel like were missed opportunities when it came to limiting the run?
Biggest thing if you look at us, we contested balls all game long. So we had, if you turn the film on for us right there's not guys running wide open. We contested balls, all that. Bill to make a few more of those plays on contested balls.
Or 2 more? Hey, Bill, to follow up on the question about physicality, Mickey opened his press conference yesterday talking about the importance of matching your opponents in their physical play. I mean, you've got the players that you've got, the depth issues that you've got. You can't change that. So how do you coach that? How do you go about changing that if something needs to be changed?
Just expectations. The big thing with that, if your expectation is how you're going to be physical, how you're going to get lined up, how you're going to play up front, how you're going to fit, if your expectations, if that's your main thing, if you work on that phase of it the most, like that, you'll get what you emphasize. That's always true like that. So there's always, everybody has some sort of limitations no matter what team it is in college football. Someone's going to, no matter where you go, someone's going to say, well, we have some limitations here. We have some limitations here. Everyone has some of those like that. So everyone has those, but right now, just make the main thing, which is we emphasize with what we're going to do and how it's going to fit and how it's going to go down. So everyone knows crystal clear what's going on, and that's how you're able to play fast. The only way you play physical is really having the what you know down. So you know what you're doing like that. So you want to be able to have it like, it's not like, I wasn't sure on that. That can catch you right in the teeth pretty fast. So getting them that part, that'll help us.
You mentioned the presence that Henrich brings. Obviously not going to have that on the field this week. What does getting Reimer back do to mitigate that loss?
It helps us a bunch like that. Obviously, would have loved to have had him in that Purdue game. Him, and if you had him and Nick for a full game, and that would, that I'm not saying be. I'd always like to have had them. They're really good players. So Reimer's also a leader. He leads a little bit more by how he plays like that, which is fine. That also is a quality of leadership. So we have plenty of guys on the team like that. That's one thing I feel great about with this group is they're a very, very, very tight-knit group. And so like that. So that's fun to be around those kids like that. Everyone's together. There's no fractions of that. So everyone's together like that. Nick will still help us in some fashion, but you do lose a piece when he's not on the field. When the pads don't go on, you lose a piece of the leadership part. That's just natural for us, which kind of stinks like that. So we'll have to get ourselves through that. But we have no lack of leadership. And then if you have a little bit of things that need to be better, then the coaches need to lead. That's just the way it goes like that. So coaches need to lead with that, because the days of someone's going to grab somebody by the face mask or this that doesn't exist anymore. That's gone for a long time. So you got to be able to have quality kids that respect the process and how to practice, and that's what our kids do. They respect the process. Whatever we're doing, let's walk through whatever the phase that we're doing right there. They respect how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and they're very active. Their minds are going very quickly on what has to be done. That's how we're going to have our leadership. That's how we're going to have our physicality. That's how we're going to get this stuff going. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Appreciate it.